Loneliness and leadership. It is a topic that is very close to my heart, and I know we've all come together for the last, since yesterday and today, to gather ideas, fresh content, collaboration, connection, and I really wanted to talk about something that weighs heavily on my heart as a leader and as a CEO of Hello Coach. I have been a coach for 20 years, close to 18,000 coaching conversations over that time. So you can imagine the breadth of topics that were covered in my time as a coach. And I've always felt that when I was an executive coach, it was a very privileged position to participate and hold the space for so many incredible human beings. Largely, I actually do miss it, although I love Hello Coach. It's a very personal journey when you have a relationship with a client. And we started building Hello Coach just before the pandemic. And it was very prevalent, obviously, during the pandemic when we were obviously isolated from friends and family, and our lives literally got thrown up like a bag of leaves. To then, 3 years later, we have seen the catastrophic impact of COVID. And I know lots of people talk about the isolation and the disconnection, but it's real. So I wanted to choose the topic today to talk about loneliness and leadership and how loneliness is impacting our ability to lead effectively. And if nothing more, I would love you to walk away with just one thing from today. And I know I've been listening to some of the speakers as well. There's been so much content and great ideas, and putting my coaching hat on, take one thing from every single presentation and action it. So from today, loneliness is a really important topic, and I wanted to start with an anecdote. So I can just take you on a journey a little bit. Imagine a 5-year-old girl, pigtails, scraped knees, band-aids, as you do, in it on the sandpit, starting school, happy, having Vegemite sandwiches with her best friend. Fast track 11 years later, 11 different schools, 11 different school uniforms, and 11 different addresses, all before the age of 18. We all have very different upbringings, and some of us are more fortunate than others to grow up with great communication skills and a manual for life and how to navigate everything, essentially. But that young girl, fast track into today's workforce, will experience loneliness, disconnection, isolation, that will then see her have 16 different roles, 8 different careers in her career trajectory. Gone are the days where we stay with the one company for 20, 30 years. We have a bigger problem at stake, which is how can we find solutions to hold on to exceptional people? And as leaders, I'm incredibly passionate that you will see and hear around how we can keep problem solving around building a deeper sense of collaboration and belonging, because it is the number one thing now that is impacting companies in this country and worldwide. And it is the next epidemic, now classified as the lonely century. It is real. I'm raising it because I don't want to put our heads under the covers anymore around this topic, because together we actually have something incredibly important to contribute. Now, whilst you all might not be the end point of decision makers, every single one of you that I look at your faces, you have the ability to influence somewhere in your organisation about how you can take a step forward to make a difference. And that is the message that I would love you to take out of here at the end of my presentation, yes, after I show you some stats and data. But reverse back to that young girl in the workforce. She also then faced another adversity. And we all have, a lot of us sometimes can just have a bucket of lemons thrown at us. We can't avoid that. But the one thing that this woman experienced when she was 34, raising a baby by herself, she was diagnosed with a devastating neurological disease that would have seen her in a wheelchair within 2 years. And at that point, she discovered coaching. Now, I'm not saying that coaching was the cure for this woman, not at all. But what it gave her was the incredible foundation and structure to, and a safe place to question, to unpack, to talk, to be seen, to be heard, to give her fundamental skills that otherwise we lack. And then that helps her navigate the rest of the world and her professional career. So you can imagine, with a diagnosis like that, that was pretty hectic. She had a very young baby. But it was a pivotal time in her world. And I obviously stand before you now as CEO of Hello Coach, and I've been in remission now for 18 years. And I was that girl. I share that story because I am so passionate about making sure that we build connection. And my own personal story, some may say it was pretty messy, ends up being my message and an advocate that together, when we band together, we can make a difference and we can connect as leaders. And it can be lonely as a leader. The weight on our shoulders sometimes with the decisions that we need to make, we don't necessarily have all the answers, but we go around wearing the masks that half the time no one knows that your colleagues are hurting. They're struggling. When was the last time that you walked through, for those that are in an open plan office? Who's in an open plan office? Like most of us. When was the last time you checked on someone that you don't normally say hello to? Do you notice whether they're there or not if you're hot desking? And they're the things that I would love to raise your awareness around. Beyond just, are you okay? But to start building a greater connection within your tribe at work. Because together we are always stronger and we can start to make a difference. Loneliness. The definition, a feeling of being invisible, unseen, unheard by not only those closest to us, but also from our work colleagues. You don't have to raise your hands to this question. But how many of you in the last week, the last month, have felt you've had decisions thrown at you, that you felt weighed down, questioning whether it's the right thing to do or the right thing to execute on? It's been really interesting spending time here, and I've had many conversations over since yesterday morning, that the common theme, I'd probably say more than 70% of the conversations that I've had, yes, you've come here for information, as I said before, new ideas, but the number one word that has come through all our conversations, you have all been seeking connection. I see the heads nod. A sense of belonging. And yes, you're a part of an amazing, like-minded tribe here. But you've all come here searching for assurance, reassurance, validation. You're doing the right thing, you're doing the best thing. Like, it's a really special space that you are sitting in right now. But it's really interesting, all the conversations that I've had. The connection has been the number one thing that has come out of it. And we've almost lost the art of conversation, the art of saying hello. We've been in our caves for the last couple of years. And a few of you have been incredibly vulnerable and honest in some of the conversations with me that I've had, saying that it's a little bit tough. Saying hello to someone that you don't know just doesn't come as natural anymore. But this is where it starts. Three types of loneliness. Intimate or emotional loneliness, a need for high quality intimate relationships. The second type of loneliness, relational, social loneliness, with our friends and our work colleagues. And then there's collective loneliness, the need to be a part of a tribe, a community, a network. They're all very different types of loneliness, but they're real. Loneliness is experienced by more than 1 in 4. So if you look 4 people along, every 4th person will be experiencing depths of loneliness right now. Could be anxiety, could be not sleeping well, could be feeling blue, feeling overwhelmed, overloaded. The most concerning research, 1 in 3 young people say they have no friends. 1 in 3. So we're talking about teenagers, for those who are parents. Who's a parent? You're teenagers, kids in their 20s, the ones that have come out of university. They've missed the face-to-face, they've missed the human being drive for connection. Completely missed it. It's like they've missed a step from growing up. These are our emerging leaders. They are as important as our current leadership in organisations. So we have a duty of care to embrace and shift the narrative around our young people. 1 in 3 say they have no friends. 1 in 3. I just want you to think about that. These are going to be our future leaders. 5 years, 10 years. So you can see why I'm passionate about this topic. It's future-proofing our young people as they move through organisations, to look after them, to provide a sense of belonging and connection and nurture them, as well as our existing leaders. "76% of executives experience feelings of loneliness. 58% believed it negatively affected their decision-making abilities." So just think about this for a minute. 58% believed it to be true, that they are not making the best decisions for their organisation. So can you imagine the systemic flow-on impact of what that has across an organisation? When there is doubt, there is a lack of confidence, there is a lack of execution strategy. They're not 100% behind their decisions because they are feeling lonely. And I don't want this to be a sad topic. I'm going to spin it around. You know, it's an opportunity here to make a difference. But this is real, and this data isn't going away anywhere. This is the new epidemic. And we are all in a privileged position sitting in this room because we can make a difference. The cost of loneliness, $154 billion per year from loss of productivity due to absenteeism. $154 billion. That is preventable. And there is also a thing such as presenteeism, if I've said that right. Absenteeism is really easy to see because they're just not there. They're not sitting at the desk. But then we look at presenteeism. And you can have someone sitting next to you, but that doesn't mean that they're there. That doesn't mean that they're engaged. That doesn't mean I'm getting nods yes. It doesn't mean that they're participating. It doesn't mean that they're engaging in meetings or they're coming up with fresh ideas. They're passive. They're withdrawn. These are the signs that I would love to try and bring your awareness to in this presentation. But when you do walk out of here, have a little bit more knowledge around what some of these signs and symptoms are.
In regards to the young people, it's also about identifying what relationships and friendships look like. So they do have relationships, but they don't recognise that because, they may not value that relationship. And also work relationships are different to friendships. It's work. You have boundaries. And I run a lot of boundaries training and people go over those boundaries and that work, personal relationship boundary is broken. You get paid to go to work and you have to appreciate that those boundaries exist.
Absolutely. And it's a different type of relationship. So I agree with that. So what's the impact of loneliness? $2.7 billion is the cost of loneliness in the Australian economy. $2.7 billion. 67% of Australians reported feeling disengaged at work. These stats are in the last 3 months. They're very recent. 3 times as likely, feeling lonely, employees are feeling lonely and dissatisfied. 37% increase, higher in absenteeism, directly associated with disengagement and loneliness. 42% of lonely employees said that they were mentally somewhere else, even though they were at work. This is a good one. 15 cigarettes smoked or 6 alcoholic drinks per day is the health equivalent to loneliness. What about that? 15 cigarettes, 6 alcoholic drinks every day. Fast track that increases your mortality by 30%. Loneliness is directly associated with poor health that will increase your chance 30% of dying early, which is why it's called the silent epidemic. I have a little workshop for you. In front of you, you will have this. It's a little quick quiz that I put in front of you. It's something that we do with all of our clients, and it's something that I've been doing for 20 years as a coach. So I'd love you just to take a few minutes. If you need a pen, just pop your hand up and we can get a pen over to you. Thank you, Melissa. So as you move through, there's a few questions here that I'd love to take you through with the lens of what I have just shared. So around your productivity, do you see presenteeism issues in your organisation? Now that you have a little bit more awareness around what absenteeism looks like, signs and symptoms, and you can personally use this as an assessment for yourself if you don't have a team. But circle, are you concerned or are you really happy that you've got no absenteeism? Please take your time. Engagement. Do your people bring new ideas to the table? Think back to the last meeting that you might have had in the last week. Who was really excited and engaged and put their hand up and said, yes, listen to me, I've got a brilliant idea. Or are you having to coax them, motivate them to share ideas? Retention. Are you losing people unexpectedly? And some of these may not be prevalent for all of you, and that's okay. Hence, it's a high level, a quick assessment. It's a very quick health assessment on the company and your teams. Well-being. Do people engage in social events or leave at the first opportunity? What programs do you offer for your team, for your people? What wellbeing packages, whether it's mentoring, coaching, health benefits, spa treatments, I don't know. What do you offer them that promotes work-life balance and shows that you care about them? Performance and growth. Are you seeing a shift in the dial from their growth and their performance at work? Or is it slipping a little? If they've been with you for a while, where were their results 12 months ago to where they are now? And again, all of these are just questions to prod and poke a little. Culture. What's the culture in the organisation? What do you offer that really ignites value? What feedback do you get from the customers of your company and your product? What do they say about your team and the staff members that they're interacting with? And leadership. Are you satisfied with the way that your leaders are leading? Are you concerned? I know it's a very broad question. Again, it's a high-level test. And teams. The team engagement. How supportive are they of one another? Are they connected to one another? Or are you noticing signs of disengagement? Is there morale amongst them? Do they hang out together at lunchtime when they're in the office? Do they talk to each other? Is there relationships with boundaries in place? Is there a sense of caring amongst your teams? Who's finished? You look like you've finished. So hands up if you've scored more than one area of concern. Okay, awesome. That's like 45%. Okay, everyone else, you can leave. You're good. That's really interesting. I'm going to come back to that. There's a reason why I got you to do that assessment. It just helps a little bit sometimes. You can't take the coach girl out of me, which is why I love coaching. Asking some questions to help just join some dots, bring some awareness to you. So what are some of the signs and symptoms of loneliness? Frequent absent days, withdrawn from others, poor engagement, no new ideas are being shared, inability to connect, overwhelm and self-doubt, and taking on extra work and, hey, forgetting to ask for help. Do any of you have any of your colleagues around you that has one or more of these signs and symptoms? Hands up. Quite a few. We came up with a term, I don't know that we came up with it, but we found it, called belongingship at Hello Coach. And it's something that we're going to continue to keep using and driving as our message. It's a style of leadership of bringing like-minded people together, linking to a common purpose. Here, what we have here at this event is a common purpose. Even though you think that you might have come here for something else, you're actually walking away with something else. And this is what I love about when people collaborate and they come together and they connect and they talk. So how can we start to fix loneliness? And yes, a few of you might say, wow, that's a big thing to take on. How can we fix it? What can I do? But individually and collectively, we can make a difference. The first thing is talking about it, removing the stigma, which is what I'm talking about it today. Create more vibrant leadership. Ask yourself, how are you actually facilitating any of your own team workshops and team meetings? Pay it forward with a colleague. Do something kind, look out for signs, but my favourite of all is smile more and say hello. Hence, hello, coach. Just say hello. Go up to someone, if you put it in your diary with someone that you haven't spoken to in a long time, as a task, as an action, find one person and go up and introduce yourself and say hello. It will change worlds. My final thing as I finish up, we did do a female emerging leaders workshop, and we came out of it with stunning results. 56% of their young female leaders said they felt lonely 50% of the time. We ran this workshop out in the last 3 months. 73% of participants felt an increase of community and collaboration from the coaching that we facilitated within the organisation. These stats don't lie. It's real. People are generally wanting connection and collaboration, men and women. I can share this PowerPoint if you'd like it. If you want to go faster, go alone. If you want to go far, let's go together. I want there to be a deep sense of pride in the conversation here, and not walk out going, oh, well, I can't do anything about it, because you can when you walk out of here and you go to the street and you go onto the train or you go to dinner with your partner and your children. Put your phones down as an example. Start to explore this space of being present. How many of us go out with our partners and our children and we're on our phones? How many of us have seen couples at dinner on their phones? I'm like, man, life is so precious. Put your phones down, talk, care and be kind about what's going on in their lives. I'm being told to wrap up. I could stand here and talk forever. Okay, so...
Listening to you.
I can come back. All right, on your forms, I wanted to create something really special, and you don't have to do it. But I wanted to offer you an experience of Hello Coach and a free trial, whether it's for yourself or for your business or your company. I don't mind. Scan the code and let us come in and show you what we can do. This is how passionate that I am around coaching changes lives. And it starts with the scanning of a code. So take it up. Also, no, I'm not adding in a set of steak knives. I've also written a book that is coming out very soon. So I am offering it to the first 30 people. If you would like a copy of it, it'll be out shortly. All you need to do is go to Hello Coach, register, pop your name down, and then I'll send a personal copy out to you. So it's a coaching book. Coaching 101, going back to some foundations of really what you need to be and practice and tools and tips to be a superstar. It's not rocket science, but it's captured in an extraordinary book, which has been 20 years of my experience of being on the front line, having 18,000 extraordinary conversations. So that is it from me. Thank you very much for listening, and happy to take some questions.
Thank you so much. That was such a powerful presentation, Victoria. We have lots of questions coming through, but we're not going to have time for them.
Okay.
Because are you going to be out on at the stand?
Yes, please come out. I'll be at Hello Coach, and you can come up and ask me questions.
We won't get to those questions, but yeah, go and see Victoria at the Hello Coach stand. And thank you again. Thank you so much. It was so powerful and inspiring.